Alright, so we got the Audi relocated here. Got the battery charged up. This rebuilt starter, the one variable that we have is it has more than one control pin on the actual solenoid. So the owner had it hooked up to the bottom one. That's how it is right now. This red control wire. And obviously nothing happened. There's no continuity from that wire through the coil, through the starter motor to ground. So you can prove that. Test light from battery positive. If it finds a ground, it's going to light up. If we touch it to this control pin, no ground. Okay? What about the ones on top? What are those for? What do they do? So I have a little jumper connected to the top one. And look, there's definitely continuity to ground. Now, it's not, using a mirror, it just goes somewhere into the solenoid. So that has to be a winding. And then, I believe it goes through the solenoid, from the top control pin, not the bottom one. I don't know what the bottom one's for. It's just blank. It's not doing anything. But I think the current goes through and then it gets tied into this terminal, and that's, you can see that's tied into the starter motor, feed, the main feed. So what I want to do, and the car is in neutral, it's blocked, it's safe. I just want to jump hot power to that top control pin. I have a 30 amp fuse, so if it's a direct short to ground, we'll just pop a fuse. We're not going to melt any wires. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it clicked. I don't think I popped anything yet. The engine definitely tried to turn. Let's try that again. Nothing. What the heck? Let's see, is that still grounded? Oh. Let's see, do we still have a good feed? No, we don't. We're missing the battery positive feed now to the starter. The main lug, let's see, is that tightened down? I believe it is. Let's go to the battery. Check the posts on the battery. Maybe those are loose. There's definitely some action. Okay, that was loose. That was very loose. Let's try again. Let's see if we restored power to the starter. Yes, we did. Now, try this again. Here to here. Simply amazing. So the only thing we have to do here is put the control wire on the upper pin instead of the lower pin. And the owner said this is how it was when he got it. So let's put this wire, stretch it out a little further, put it on the top pin. If it reaches, I think it'll barely reach. Get a little more slack here. Alright, that's on there. Let's see if this car actually starts and runs now. Yeah, hot leather on bare skin is not fun. So we're gonna have to use the manual ignition switch, obviously. I have a screwdriver here. Let's see what happens. Okay. We'll play with the gas a little bit, but now it's a crank no start. That's good. Let's see, did the fuel pump turn on? I remember it was turning on yesterday. Well, we got the crank. That's good. It sounds pretty healthy. Sounds like it has compression. Let me turn the key on and off a few times, see if we can get this fuel pump to prime. I just randomly touched the relay. Oh man, this whole fuse box is just... it's probably not happy. See? Let's try this again. Man, everything electrical in this car is intermittent. See, I didn't hear the fuel pump prime like it did yesterday. Might be out of gas, I don't know. Alright, enough of that. Let's get the battery charged up. Check for spark, check for fuel pressure, check for injector pulse. Alright, next step for the crank no start. So I have power and ground here. Here's my test light. Let's do measurement at the injector. I got a spark plug out. We'll see if there's spark when we're cranking it over. First, let's check the feed wire, this black and red. So test light now connected to battery ground. It should light up when we turn the key on when the ignition relay is on. So that's visible. That will be hard to see, but we'll focus the camera on here. I'll review the footage if I can't see it from inside the car. Alright, so once I feed power to that pin, we should crank over. Let's look for spark with the key on. Ready? Oh. Let me take a closer look. Okay, I confirmed that there was spark. I just had to hold it in the dark hole because the sunlight doesn't make it easy to see. The spark is confirmed. Why don't we have a feed to the injectors? Let's go back to the wiring diagram. Oh, you see that? It flickered. Oh, did I have a bad contact? How about that? Maybe he has bad gas. Okay, so next check, if we have feed to the injectors, do we have control? So let's put the test light now in battery positive. Move it to the control pin. I mean, we could move it to battery negative and see if we can actually pulse the injectors. Maybe they're all stuck. Everything in this car is stuck. The test light's lighting up. Maybe that's not enough current for injector, 300 milliamps to open it. Let me grab a bigger test light. Alright, bigger test light connected to battery ground. If we find the power, so let's say I'm going to touch the power feed wire, make sure the test light works. So I have it on the 1 amp setting. Now, if you touch the control wire and the test light carries enough current, it should cause the injector to at least click and open the solenoid. These little rubber boots are slightly in the way. Let's try that. Okay, so the test light is dim. You see it's dim? You probably barely see it. No clicky on the injector. Let's try the next one. There we go. Okay, that one clicks. See, the test light just barely lights up in the filament. I want to check all of them because we're here and some of these may be stuck. Like number 1 is obviously not clicking. That's not good. Okay. Just try this. That one clicks. Number 4 clicks. Number 3 clicks. Number 2 clicks. Number 1 does not click. So we know number 1 is stuck. Stuck open or stuck closed, we don't know, but we know it's not moving whatsoever. We can try to gently tap on it. I can even stuff my test light in here, keep it grounded out, and see if we can use the field and a little tapping too. Nope. Injector number 1, dead in the water. Is there an easy way to measure fuel pressure here? Oh, did they include a Schrader valve? I doubt it because, you know, Audi. So I'm assuming that's the feed. It comes in here. There's the rail. There's the return. So pretty straightforward. There's a fuel pressure regulator right there with a little vacuum line on it. And then the return hose. We could undo a fitting. Put a gauge on there. But if at least 4 of the injectors are firing, and number 1 is, we don't know if it's stuck closed or open, and the plug wasn't soaked, so it's probably stuck closed. We do have spark. We just need good fuel to make this thing run. Now the air intake is here. It goes through the turbo, through the intercooler, through here. So we could pop off, a hose here and just spray some starting fluid, see if this thing actually coughs. And one step at a time. So I cracked the fuel line loose. There's definitely gas coming out. It doesn't smell terrible, maybe a little like stabilizer or something. So I just spoke to the owner, and he says gas has never been added to this thing since he got it. It's been sitting for 10 years, so we're gonna put a couple gallons of ethanol free in the tank. Unleaded fuel only, premium recommended. Yep, high performance machine here. We'll see if we get fuel at the rail. If it, I think it should fire up if the fuel pump's running. All right, let's turn the key on. See, maybe that's not the fuel pump. Maybe that's the this auxiliary coolant pump running. Let's see if we unhook that. We probably won't hear that noise. Let's try that again. Yeah. Fuel pump's definitely not running, so we have to look up that circuit. Let's crank it over one more time. So I think it fired for a couple seconds on fumes. We're getting close. Alright, here's a diagram for the fuel pump circuit. Now this is the fuel pump relay, and D relay turns on, it sends power to fuel pump through fuse S13 15 amp. Here's the fuel pump relay. It lives in slot 10. It sounds like there's loose bits and pieces inside, and it's weird, it has like this slot for a fuse up here. Very strange. So let's pop it open, just do a quick visual in here. But when we know the pins that the relay is supposed to turn on, so D and E are supposed to be fed power when this relay kicks on. And that would be pins, it goes from pin 48 to 52 and 59. And so 48 is the big one. 52 and 59 are the two other big ones. It goes from here to these two. So we could easily rig up a manual test light. And this relay is controlled by the engine computer. Alright, so with the test light, I'm going from the first terminal to the second one. Yes, we have a test light there, so there's continuity through the fuel pump. Now let's see, 52 and 59. Yep, and then 59 goes to E. I didn't see where that goes, but that's another load. So let's go to this one here. Yes, we have a nice test light. Alright, so let me rig up a couple jumpers. We can pop open this relay. See why it's all crunchy inside. Alright, here's the guts of the relay. It doesn't look too bad. There's the fused part. So we're going from the big copper pin over to here, and you can see there's 3 sets of points. So if we follow the pins, this big one is connected to these upper 2 points. So basically we want, it must be a high current feed to there. So both of those should touch, and then the bottom point goes to the middle bigger pin. So this whole thing should go pop. So let's stick it in and just manually energize and see if we get fuel spraying out of the fuel rail. Alright, let's see what happens when I just press these points together. So this is the auxiliary coolant pump. So we know that works. So the relay is turning on. We have absolutely no fuel pump action. So there might be continuity through the pump, but it seems like it's seized up solid. So what I want to do, take this out and just put a fused, 30 amp fuse from 46 to 52 and measure the current on there. And if there's current and the fuel pump's not kicking on, unfortunately all the electric motors on this car are completely seized up. Well, at least half of them. You got power windows, fuel pump. That's a shame. I don't know if you're gonna have to drop a tank to get this fuel pump to turn. Maybe just hit it with a hammer. I don't know. Alright, so I got the 2 wires coming from the relay pins. We're going to look at our ammeter. You can see that reading. So it's zeroed out. I'm going to touch the 2 wires together through a fuse. We're going to see what the current is. 15 amps. No fuel pump action. So basically what we need to do is bang on the tank, maybe connect this while banging on the tank. Try to get this thing to spin. Alright, here we go. Audi fuel pump. Got the little cover off and Got us a Bosch replacement, courtesy of Rock Auto. Here's what it looks like. It's all just positive, negative, and a fuel line. So we have to take out the housing and replace the fuel pump unit. So I'm just going to gently blow some of this crap out of the way. Looks like a lock ring. We'll just knock that loose, disconnect a couple lines. There's the pressure line there. There's the electrical connector right there. And hopefully this car will run today. So the pressure feed line looks kind of nasty inside. A lot of rust and corrosion. And well, that's not good if it's going up to the fuel rail. So I dug most of the chunks out of here. I'm just gonna hopefully it'll clean up. We'll put a new fuel filter on, you know, right before the fuel rail, and so I'm just hammering this ring off. Get these guys out of here so we don't lose them. Vintage Volkswagen, Audi. So I don't know when Volkswagen and Audi merged. I thought it was later than the 90s, but maybe not. So let's take this sending unit out. Oh, it looks pretty nasty in there. Oh man. Oh boy. This might be a mess. A lot of rust in the tank. Let me figure out how to get that out and we'll swap the new fuel pump in. Well, here it is. Wow. Looks like it's been under the ocean. Holy crap. Alright, so I got this mess in the utility sink, just trying to clean all this junk off of here. Rust, gunk, debris. Then we have to get the fuel pump out of the housing. Hopefully we can unscrew this fitting right here. And then we have to fix this sending unit because the ground wire corroded off. I think it was attached to, I'm guessing it grounds the actual, you know, slider, because the positive blue wire comes right here to this board, and then that grounds through this wire that's supposed to just attach to, you know, the slider on there. So we have to fix that, replace the pump, make sure everything's clean. And then, you know, the tank itself, there's a lot of sediment in there, but, you know, what do? Replace the tank? That's not available. I guess you could drain it, try to clean it out, or just put it all together, run it, make sure the car runs. The sediment, it'll just stay there. I mean, this filter screen should do a good job of filtering initially. Then it'll go through the second fuel filter, so I'm not worried about gunk getting to the fuel injectors. You know, as long as the tank holds fuel, I think that's all we can ask for at this point. Alright, so the electrical connections are actually being very friendly. Those nuts are coming off no problems whatsoever. Just look pretty bad with all the rust on there. Get this off. The washer. The wire. Yeah, cars that sit for a long time, you never know what you're going to find. So, the question is, how do you store your car so this doesn't happen? Well, I guess don't store it outside, or if you do, at least run it once a month or something. Get some fuel through there, because the gas tank here is obviously full of moisture, and that didn't help anything. And now we're dealing with this mess. Alright, so those are off. Now I've got to get this hose off of here with the, it's called a noise damper. And there's a check valve in here, and then we'll get this fuel pump out. Alright, got a 17 and a 19. Let's try to crack this sucker loose. Oh, that was actually too easy. Alright. Man, there's going to be junk everywhere, so we have to blow everything out. Washers here. Blow that out. So the check valve has a little holder there. I'm sure that ball is kind of stuck. And now we can get the fuel pump out. There we go, perfect. Brand new fuel pump. Actually comes with a new check valve, so that's nice. We'll just slide this sucker in. There's a little tab. Holds it in like that. And the bottom, we have our strainer cup, and that locks in. There's only one way that can go, I think. Okay, so that's locked in. Now I want to fix the sending unit, fix that wire, and then we can reattach the hose to here and put this whole thing back in the tank. Alright, now we're on the bench with the sending unit assembly. Let's clean up this wiring. So the main issue here is corrosion. You can see this ground wire for the sending unit corroded completely off. So it was soldered right here to the actual slider, so it has to move up and down, you know, with the float. So it comes over here, and it's soldered onto one of these 4 pins. So I cleaned out the main power and ground to the pump. Now I want to desolder this ground wire. The other one looks fine. It's just the ground wire got, because it's all exposed, got all messed up. So let me do that, and I'm going to use thin gauge, you know, flexible. I think it's for an audio system, but you want this to be flexible because the float's going to be going up and down. So we got the blue wire stretched out all the way from this pin, routed alongside the positive sense wire, and I kind of made a bigger loop here so the wire wouldn't be stressed out. It has plenty of flex, so when the float goes up and down, not a problem. It should stay right there. So let me solder those on, and then we'll test the resistance while we move the float up and down. Make sure the sending unit's going to work. Alright, here we go. So we're starting at 282 ohms. The float's all the way down. That's like the tank is empty. As I lift the float up, nice gradual transition all the way to 40 ohms. So 40 down to 280. Amazing. So once we put this thing back together, everything should work. Alright, we're getting close. Fuel pump is reinstalled. It's a little tricky to snake it in there, but doable. Tighten down the pressure line. We'll connect our feed. And, well, can you reverse this? No, you can't, because they're locator pins, so can't mess that up. Okay, so I'm going to leave that cover off for now. Now we can go under the hood, manually energize that relay, and see if fuel sprays out of that feed line. I might put in a bottle and just purge the lines out so we don't get any crap in the injector rail if we can help it. See if this thing will fire up. Place your bets now. Alright, here we go. Got a kosher dill bottle with the fuel rail just stuffed in it. I'm going to close the relay. Woohoo! We got fuel pump action. Look at all the crap that came out. Good thing we did that. Now let me just reconnect it to the line and then we can crank it over. I don't see anything else that would keep this car from starting. Now I might only run on 4 cylinders because that injector number 1, we'll see. If it warms up and it starts working, we'll leave it alone. Alright, let me hold the relay on, make sure there's no leaks anywhere. There we go. You can hear the fuel flowing. The good thing is the return system, so if any crap did go through the rail, it'll go right back to the tank instead of getting clogged right in the rail. Alright, should we go for it? Let's do it.